Kopikamu Story. Everyone knows the beauty of specialty coffee, the sweet aroma, the rich body and the perfect balance of flavors. We like it, because it is picked the trees one cherry by one cherry, with all those unique characteristics we love. But it wasn't that easy. Actually, our favorite beverage is for some farmers the last chance, and yet there's a significant amount of detail that goes into producing a high-quality specialty coffee. Everything, from the fertilizers to the amount of shade, to the altitude and variety of crops that are planted within the elds, all those elements have a big effect on the quality of the coffee. But the effort doesn't stop me. Once I've decided some years ago this can be my best project, I run into this adventure. This is my little story, and above all the story of a successful farming community in a faraway place on the Sumatra Islands mountains, in Indonesia, 11,000 kilometers far from my hometown, in Italy. Only 5 years ago, a small community-run coffee farmers in Sidikalan, in the north of Sumatra Island in Indonesia, considered ripping out their Arabica coffee trees and replacing them with more lucrative crops of small oranges, putting an end to generations of coffee growing in the little village. A collapse in the global coffee price meant that they were finding it increasingly difficult to cover the cost of producing coffee on their elds. The turnaround occurred when occasionally about 3 years ago, I met an Indonesian girl, Miss Laili Swintz. She was born and raised in Jakarta. I was born in Italy and came to work in China several years ago. By chance, our first meeting days, we both had some free time, so we took a trip to Laili's father hometown, Sidikalan. A place in the mountains, 5 hours far from Medan, really far from any touristic place, where Laili used to spend summer holidays with her family, when she was a child. There we met her uncle, who was running a coffee farm and helping farmers in DAIRI region to improve quality of their coffee to have crucial access to locals markets and abroad. Some months later, we come back to Sidikalan as a couple with the goal to try to do our best to continue her uncle's project. So, after cupping his coffee, seeing the quality of it, the health of all coffee plants, the ripeness of the coffee cherries and the defect-free condition of parchment coffee, after it had been washed, we quickly realized that we should have a chance of success. We immediately understood there were unseen elements that could be found along the way. If we could have the control of all the process starting from the best cherries and not from the parchment, as traditionally local people called asalan, we should have tried to make our best coffee. So we decided. We had immediately to improve the quality, as an achievable task. Actually, after we spotted this special opportunity that could save both the families and their farms, we had to make the first step inside coffee world. We should have tried to convince newly farmers to believe in our project. We could improve the quality of their coffee, giving them compost for tree and loan some money from their children's school, and of course let them earn money from coffee growing. If we could do this, then we might stand a real chance of finding customers for their special coffee. Yet this first step was by no means not easy. At last, thanks to many people, we were able to create a first coffee community of 100 farmers, the Kopikamu Communities Kopi Sidikalan, in the DAIRI region, from Sidikalan, our farm. With our purpose to improving quality of coffee in this small area and a community of farmers from our side, we immediately got to work. We prepared all what we need to start up and establish our own farm with a small facility to process our coffee. We found what we were looking for, in Jamatakar, nearby Sidikalan village. It was an old dismissed coffee's factory with a small eld half-hectare wide, planted with 1,000 of 3 years old bourbon variety trees. We could use it to test quality of cherries, soil and water, and most important to train farmers for picking, taking care plantations and understanding all our process. We loaned for 15 years, and after crossing up, we made all the fermentation tanks and set about all the washing facilities. Then we built newly sheltered dry beds and storage areas for the coffee away from the sun's rays. The name of the new factory would have been PT Triputrilstri, and our brand name on Judah bags KK Specialty Coffee, from the association of K letters inside Communities Kopi and Sidikalan names. From that time on, we have worked extensively throughout the agricultural coffee chain, establishing mill procedures and overseeing the building and management of the facility. Finally, after sharing all our needs with the coffee pickers of our small eld and all the farmers who work inside our community, we was ready. The first harvest time arrived soon. It was for us a such important test. The goal was prioritizing absolute quality over quantity. We immediately started to see an improvement in the overall quality, when we returned to cup the coffee sometime later. Farmers finally understood the importance of collecting only red and ripe cherries, as we trained them, and when we realized the real meaning of control coffee for all the process long, we knew we were on the right path. This is still an ongoing and long process, but we have gone through a shift that has changed everything we do on the farm from our first steps into the project. And all the farmers who work inside our community, we was ready. The first harvest time arrived soon. It was for us a such important test. The goal was prioritizing absolute quality over quantity. We immediately started to see an improvement in the overall quality, when we returned to cup the coffee sometime later. Farmers finally understood the importance of collecting only red and ripe cherries, as we trained them, and when we realized the real meaning of establishing mill procedures and overseeing the building and management of the facility. Finally, after sharing all our needs with the coffee pickers of our small eld and all the farmers who work inside our community, we was ready. The first harvest time arrived soon. It was for us a such important test. The goal was prioritizing absolute quality over quantity. We immediately started to see an improvement in the overall quality, when we returned to cup the coffee sometime later. Farmers finally understood the importance of collecting only red and ripe cherries, as we trained them, and when we realized the real meaning of control coffee for all the process long, we knew we were on the right path. This is still an ongoing and long process, but we have gone through it. We arrived to Europe. This is a testament to our self-belief, perseverance and hard work inside this project, half European and half Indonesian. We have been living and working in Sidikalan for 2 years, and we think that our accomplishments in this coffee growing region have been important for both local farmers and for their families. Making the transition from an established life in our birth importance of collecting only red and ripe cherries, as we trained them, and when we realized the real meaning of control coffee for all the process long, we knew we were on the right path. This is still an ongoing and long process, but we have gone through a shift that has changed everything we do on the farm from our first steps into the project. In spite of all these challenges, PT Kopikamu Story is coming to be a success story. Last month, the first shipment of 3,000 kg. Our mission. Our coffee philosophy is closely aligned with our motto from farmer. Formed a network of trust in this coffee producing region, enabling us to support our farmers with a great confidence. We trust in both the quality of their product and the ethical background practices of their daily work. Our focus is almost definitely serving specialty coffee customers, being interesting in a high-quality coffee. That's why we decide to offer a range of DAIRI coffee specialty grade, super selectioned, processed directly in our facility, starting only from red and ripe cherries. So roasters could choose and enjoy among all our local selection of Indonesian Arabica and Robusta green coffee for their blend. Starting from a grade 1, super selected, single origin, semi-wash or full very limited best grade selection of specialty coffees, honey process, blue batok, natural, from our farmer community, up to an elite coffee production, specialty processed, from our microlots Koi plantation in Sumatra, Sidikalan. Where we are. Sidikalan is a small village in the north of the Sumatras Island, in Indonesia in the DAIRI region, located in the northwest of Toba Lake, featured by a fresh air and wonderful environment, where people are living comfortably and still in symbiosis with nature. The main working activity is agriculture, thanks to the special conformation of terrain, made up of mountains and hills. The jewel of the crown of Sidikalan is its Arabica coffee. The high altitude of the region, about 4,300 feet above sea level, makes it a suitable place to grow coffee. Its quality and its taste can definitely compete with the best coffee beans of the world. Our farmer community. Farmers are one of the key point of our project. Increase farmer knowledge and give them and their family a better lifestyle, is one of the most important key point of our mission. That's why we set up the KK Communities Kopi Sidikalan. Most of the coffee farmers around our village has already joined with our community. We contact them one by one, and after we explain them our community's project, they decide to support us. That's why we decide to identify our specialty coffee with the name of the community, from where the beans come from. We offer them free organic compost, higher selling price of their coffee cherry comparing with local market, free seeds, and specially, with help of professional peoples, we teach them how to get more cherry from their plantations. With our community, we modify the standard market coffee's chain. Trot our factory, now the farmer has directly contact with the market. Together we jump small and big collectors, small and big local trader. From farmers to the cups, this was one of our target and finally we get it. Our 3 keys for process the coffee. There's an old saying that goes, there are many ways to produce bad coffee. This definitely applies to the production process of green coffee beans. It also indicates how important it is for the producer to follow a clearly established protocol in the cherry to green bean process. Worldwide, there are 3 main methods for processing coffee cherries: the fully washed, the natural sun-dried, and a hybrid process, called the semi-washed or pulped natural method. The 3 most critical steps in processing are fruit picking. Our farmers collect only the ripe and healthy berries, leaving them time to grow up and ripe on the plant. Thanks to the application of this collecting system, we can ensure better quality and a more homogeneous roasting, ensuring thereby a better taste of your coffee. We pay to our farmer a premium for selective picking. This extra investment in selective picking will always translate in a higher coffee quality. Sorting ripe cherry. Processing specialty coffee required uniformly ripe cherries. That's why our first step is hand sorting immature and overmature drupes. Ours to check the cherry one by one, and separate ripe cherries from others. After that, we put all the ripe cherries in a special tank that we call siphon. The red cherries, immersed in huge tanks full of water, are separated from the immature, gears and components for a gravity process. We separate floating cherry from the main crops. Pulping the drupes. Pulping is a crucial and central activity in wet processing and you should assure it is being done as well as possible. The skin of the fresh cherry is physically removed using a pulpier machine with addition of water. Potential damage to coffee beans is reduced if the pulping machine is adjusted to dimension of red cherry that are processed. We have a system to separate small cherry from others cherry before pulping. Normal size cherries are processed with motorized pulpier, and we use manual pulpier to process the small cherries. Fermentation and washing. Most serious cup defects are caused by wrong fermentation. It is important to keep under control this process to produce high-quality coffee. During the fermentation process, there is a biochemical reaction of the mucilage that surrounds the beans. To verify the grade of fermentation, we check the pH of mucilage using electronic meter. The fermentation is finished when the mucilage is completely digested. After that, parchments are washed. Drying and hulling. Drying coffee is an important part of processing. Measurement of water content and a great deal of information and data is available. Our coffee is sun-dried on tables covered in wire mesh placed in cement terraces. Sometimes, for semi-wash and natural dry processes, in order also use solar dryer, after pre-drying in the sun to a moisture content of about 40%. We dry our beans or cherry until moisture content of 12% content using electronic moisture and temperature meter. Controlling the drying process to ensure that coffee is not over-dried is important. Over-dried coffee is easily damaged during hulling and may also result in a blandavure in the final cup. After one night rest, our parchments are hulling in order to keep beans, parchment, and husks completely separate. In our factory we have 2 DAIRI hulling machine. One for small batch, and one with special design, 3 times more powerful, that can hulling also giling basa process. Our specialty coffee, estate specialty coffee. We have 4 good reason. 1. We process only the cherry harvest from our farmer community. 2. All our cherries are single origin because are a specific collection of beans from a defined villages. We include the place where the coffee was grown in the name of our koi. 3. Our kois are grown in special and ideal climates, and are distinctive because of their full cup taste and little defects. Unique flavors and tastes are a result of the special characteristics of the soils. The members of KK Patani communities, our farmer community, growing every day, different area around Sidikalan, located at different altitude above the sea, give us a different coffee taste. We process, every day micro lots of cherries, collected from our community's member. Professional quality oriented. The care and attention we put into selecting the coffee starts at harvest. Our skilled employees collect only the best drupes. But it is not enough. We daily refine control quality of our products. Our concept of quality is not limited only to the product, but we control every single step of the long journey from the field, to the port of origin up to the destiny. Each phase is followed with attention, thanks to the cooperation of leading international partners who work alongside us in daily work to ND solutions to the needs of our customers. Grading, sorting, and stock. The final stage of preparing coffee, known as curing, usually takes place just before the coffee is sold. Coffee passes through a number of operations that include cleaning, screening, sorting, and grading. The collective name for common but undesirable particles found in bulk green coffee is defects, then can include various types of beans, or parts of beans, fruit tissue, and foreign matter. In general, bean defects are caused by faulty processing, pest damage, or inclement climatic conditions leading to poor fruit development. Defects are given a weighted value to assist lots under various national and international systems. We have automatic machine for size grading, but ultimately the human eye is used as the NAL process to hand sort coffee ready for stock. Our warehouse has a high cement floor and new roof, is well protected from local flooding, even during heavy rains. Monthly ours to measurement the moisture content of the stocks.